Okay, we are live. And nobody's home right now, which is wonderful. So nobody's competing with the internet. So hopefully we'll have a good broadcast with no pixelating or interruptions. If we do, it's not on me. So, all right. Hey, guys, coming in here. Hey, Marianne. Hi, Susan. Hi, Deb. Aha. You're still working, huh, Marianne? I know. It's an ugly truth. We have to work. Hey, Wendy. Okay. Deb, you are on time. Good girl. All right. Okay, so, hey, Sonny. We're going to have some fun today, I hope. All right. Let's see here. Okay, hey, Carol. All right. We are going to do this bracelet here. I posted it in the group page. And this is made with some different disc cutters, which I'm going to talk about. Maybe I should put it on, and that way you can see. This is just kind of a fun bracelet. It's very lightweight. You can probably use any gauge metal you want, but, well, I shouldn't say any, but I started with 22, and then I changed my mind and decided it should be a little heavier, so I switched to 20. So if you have that in your stash, I would recommend for this bracelet to use 22 gauge. Okay, hey Renee. Hi Lisa. Hi Mary. Okay, so what I'm going to show you today is the Peppy oval disc cutter. I haven't used it a whole lot, but I am using it some. I like it. It's got I don't know, it's just different because it's oval shapes. And also I picked up, well, this is Rhonda's, but I've got one on order for me. This little shape, disc shape punch here, which normally, I'm gonna say it, normally I don't care for this kind of a punch because you can't close this all the way down. It's just got this opening to put your metal in. And I'll show you as I'm working with it another reason I don't care for it. However, I really like the shapes, and it's a little bit of a pita, but I like it anyway because it's versatile and you can do a lot more stuff with it. So Deb, 20 or 22, you could use either, but I prefer 20 on this one only because this is pretty lightweight, and it, unless you really want it, you know, lighter, I would say I would go with 20 because it is just really lightweight. Okay. This cutter, you know, there's different prices, different places, but this is from Eurotool, and the manufacturer suggested retail price is $229, I think. I can probably get these for you, and I would probably charge about $179 for it, so you'd get it for less money. If you can find them somewhere else, I'd go for it. But if you want me to see about ordering one, I can do that. But we can talk about that later, I guess. Okay. Deb, okay. Okay, well, whatever. You could use either one. Whatever floats your boat. I generally like cutting with 22 in a disc cutter just because it's easier, but some projects you just need to have a little bit heavier heavier gauge metal. Okay, so okay, so let me turn the the camera down here, and I'll show you this other that I was playing with this morning. Another reason I like this disc cutter is you can make earrings. You can make a lot of things. I didn't put ear wires on here. I just was putting things together. You could take some of these shapes and just kind of play with them. You know, do whatever arrangement you'd want to do. You could make a bracelet, all of the different discs as well. Also, I was thinking you could do jewelry tags, which would be fun if you stamped in your maker stamp. That would be kind of a fun thing to hang one of these on your pieces of jewelry as well. So there are a lot of fun possibilities with this disc cutter. Okay, now as far as the Peppy one goes, for the oval, it comes with a little piece of urethane and also with some cut lube, and these are the disc punches right here, the punches. And also you can buy an add-on product for this, and these are the center finders. This one accidentally got smashed. This is the largest one. So anyway, you can make washers basically with this little set right here. So that's kind of cool. That also opens up a lot of different possibilities. And I did one in brass too, just for the heck of it. I'm not using these today, but that's something that you could definitely do. You could make really cool earrings with the different sizes. And this is kind of where I got my idea for the centerpiece of this bracelet, by centering this piece in here. And I'll show you how we do that as well. So you can use the insides and the outsides, both pieces, the part that you punched out and the washer part. So it's kind of fun. Yeah, the washers would make great earrings, I think, and good links as well. The cutouts are small. They are, let's see here. They're about a ½ an inch, I'd say, give or take. Mostly ½ an inch. So they're nice little things that you can solder on other pieces as well. So that's another possibility. All right, so where do I begin? I made a handout for the bracelet, and it's not super extensive, but it has some pictures in there, and of course you can always replay the demo video if you want to, just for the different steps. On the Peppy oval, Julie, hey Julie, the largest oval on the Peppy, it is 30 by 22 millimeters. So that is this one right here. That's this size. That's the largest. In a way, I wish they had like one more that was a little bit larger, but you know, these work. And some of the discs are a little bit wider, and some of them are a little bit longer in the oval shape. So it's got all the different measurements around here. So where do I begin? Oh, and the assortment has all the punches. And you have to be careful with these kinds of punches because there's a beveled edge on one end and just a flat, straight cut on the bottom. This is the cutting edge, the one without the bevel. You're going to pound with the bevel. It's easy because of the shape of these to pick up the wrong end and try to fit it in and start pounding it. And if you're pounding on the cutting edge, you're going to ruin it. And also, you can get these things stuck inside here if you are putting them in the wrong way. Ask me how I know. When I first started doing classes, I had bought some economy cutters, not this kind, but the same kind as this. I had bought some economy cutters because I was teaching classes, and I had a Swanstrom. I still do, but I didn't put that out for class use, and I'm glad that I didn't because, of course, it's not intentional, but people would always put the pieces in the wrong way and start pounding, and then they would mark and dent the insides, get wedged, and basically ruin it, inside. So you could probably put nail polish or something like that on the cutting end just to mark it, just for yourself. Just so you know to put it in the right way. So that's something. When you get these, they are wrapped in plastic and they have grease all over them. They come probably from India, I would imagine, and they're packed like, with the grease and in a plastic bag inside a box, just to, I guess, to not get, just to not rust or whatever. So anyway, that's that. All right. Okay, so I cut a bunch of little shapes out with a piece of textured metal. And if you try to utilize your metal, the space that you have as much as possible, you can get quite a few pieces out of one strip of metal. This, I believe, is the 22 gauge that I was working on. And I'll probably just cut some shapes with that. When you're going to put a center, when you want to make the center like this, you do this piece first. You'll punch the star out or the flower or whatever you want to use for your centerpiece. You punch that out first on your metal, but make sure that you have enough space that you can put it inside the disc cutter and center it and have enough border all the way around. So, that's just a little tip that you center everything right so you're not wasting space. Which side is up and down? On this little economy, or not economy cutter, but on this little cutter, there's a beveled edge, and this is the side that goes up that you're actually going to hit against. The flat, sharper end is the one that actually cuts the metal. So you want to make sure you put it in properly. Okay. Yeah, Carol, I don't know if I'll put kits together or not. I might. Someone else asked me that too. I may do it. Just depends on how much disc stamping or punching I want to do. So I'll let you guys know. If there's enough interest, maybe I'll do some. I just don't want to do like a gazillion of them. Okay, so let's do. Suni, what do you mean on the economy, the actual holder? This? I don't know. Oh, just a second here. Oh. Always a phone call. Never fails. I imagine this is the top with the screws on here. That's what I would say is the top. If that's what you're asking. Okay. All right, so let's just say that I want to cut a shape here. Well, we'll just do the little flower, just like we do on the project. Get all this crap out of the way. And I'll show you the downside, one of the downsides of this thing, in just a moment. All right, so say I want to make this size here. So I want to line up where I want to make sure that I have enough metal all the way around to cut the big disc out of. So I'm going to make this flower, make sure that I've got the right side. I'm going to lube my piece up a little bit. Ooh. All right. And set that in till it hits the metal. And I'm going to pound, so it's going to be loud. And now I have to hang this over the edge to get the piece out. Okay, I'm hanging this over the edge of my metal block. And here's the thing that I was saying that I don't like about it. This doesn't just fall out. And if it doesn't bother you, you know, I mean, it doesn't bother me other than it's a little bit of a pain in the butt. But I'll just take like a little round piece of steel and just hang that over the edge and tap that out. And that's why I said I don't know if I want to do a lot of kits because I have to do a lot of this, you know, to get the pieces out. So, okay. And the other thing is that it doesn't hold the metal snug like the other disc cutters do. You screw this down and the metal doesn't move. I'll show you that in a minute. But that's my biggest gripe with this thing, is that you have to hang it over the edge and pound the punch out. Okay. All right, so now that I've got this hole in my metal, I want to take it over here, and I'm going to put a shim on the opposite side just to keep everything level. And I'm going to, unfortunately, have to eyeball this because the center punches, or the now I've lost my words. The thing to make the washers doesn't really fit in that with this kind of a shape. So what I might do is just pick this up and look at it and make sure I've got enough metal all the way around the sides. Then I'll take my larger disc punch, lube that up. You want to take care of these tools that cost a lot of money, especially. And that one just pops right through. That's how these all should work, but they're not all high quality tools. So now I've got my little design punched out in the middle. So that's kind of fun. You can design a lot of different things with the different shapes in the center if you wanted to do that. Or you could just do round circles if you wanted to with a round disc punch. It's really entirely up to you, however you want to design your pieces. Okay, so that'll be the centerpiece for the bracelet. And then I will cut a few more of these flowers. So your metal just kind of flops in there. But it works. I mean, I'm not trying to bum wrap it. I'm just trying to be truthful about the way this works and, you know, what your expectations are, if this is the right thing for you. You know, even though I don't regard it as a high quality tool, I like it and I'm buying one because I think it's useful in certain applications. But, you know, that it may not be for everybody. All right, so it only can go so far because the block is in the way. So I'm going to hang that over the edge. All right, and my disc popped out. It's cute. It's well cut. There's nothing, I can't fault that on there. Okay, and then I'll hang this over the edge to pound the rest of it out. That's the awkward part. There you go. Unless there's some easier way that somebody knows, please enlighten me. But I kind of think that this is really the only option there is to get those things out. I love this rolling mill pattern. There's so many fun ones available these days that, oh, where's my punch? There it is. Make sure that you line it up so that you don't cut into a part you're already cut into. There's the disc. This would get old fast if you have to do a lot of it. But I just stacked it up. I took a couple, you could stack it up with probably anything you have around, but I have a couple of these rubber blocks and put my bench block on top just to prop it up a little bit. All right, so let's do one more of these. And fill out. Okay, so I'm done with that right now. And then, okay, put this back up here. And then I'm going to use, let's see here, what size was this? I guess it's this size, the 20 by 15. $20 by 15 is right here. Sometimes you have to trim your metal that you're working with to get it to fit in where you want it to utilize it the best. I've got my shim on the other side. Okay. And let's see, what did I use? I only used 2 of those. Oh, I had 4 of the flowers on my particular bracelet. Ooh. was stronger than I thought. Okay, so that's that. This is a quality tool here. Peppy always makes quality tools. Okay. So let's get this off here before I get my little display tray all messed up. I do have another one of these. Okay, so this is what I need for the bracelet. Barbara McGee, hello there. The screws on the multi-cutter are for aligning and tightening it. Well, that's news to me. It doesn't come with a wrench, but I don't know how that will tighten it because there's a space here. But that's something I can try to investigate. Okay, well that's my kiln beeping. Thankfully, it's not my smoke alarm. Hi, Kathy. Okay, that'll stop in just a minute. I've been cranking out cabochons as fast as I can lately, which is a good thing. All right, so then the next thing, I'm just going to put my holes in. Well, I'm going to mark where I have. Let me think about this a minute, because I always get ahead of myself. I am going to mark where I want the holes on the reverse side, and I'll show you why I do that. And I am using thicker jump rings. They're actually, I've talked about it before, it's a roll of chain that I bought with, they're probably like 14 gauge wire, and they're oval. It was a chain and they open up, so I unlinked a bunch of them and use them for jump rings on a lot of things that I make. I just love them. And the beadsmith is who I bought them from originally, the spools, and they are no longer carrying them. I mentioned that too a couple of weeks ago on one of the demos. So when I'm done with this roll, I'm going to be sad if I can't find any other ones like that, because I have really used the heck out of those. So hopefully I can find another supplier. So as I do everything, I eyeball. I need another Sharpie. You know, I bought these Sharpies a while back, quite a while back, and they're all I bought a ton of them at once, and now they're all starting to crap out at the same time. Go figure. All right, so I'm going to make my marks where I want my holes. You can, a lot of times I'll use this grid on my work mat here, and that kind of helps line up where the holes should be, if you put them on right. Okay. And then after I have these marked, then I'm going to dap the pieces to give them a slight curve. Okay, and then I'll punch from the reverse side. So for this, I'm going to just use my wooden dap block. That's all that's needed. I try to get all the angles there so that it just has a slight curve to it. just make sure that they're level. Sometimes you can inadvertently punch one side or tap one side a little bit harder than the other, so then they're not going to lay right. These for these bitty guys. Okay, for these bitty guys, I use the smaller side. This is a really quick project. And even quicker if you don't solder a little bezel cup on it. These also get stuck over time. If there's any kind of little edge on your metal, it kind of digs in the wood a little bit. It just happens. Yeah, Deb, Swanstrom is way more expensive. It's a better tool, without a doubt, but yeah, it's a lot more money. I figure for something that I'm going to give minimal use to, you know, this other one is, the price point is fine. All right, so now I will put my eyes on here. I'm going to use, you can use any hole punch you want. I'm just going to grab this one here. This is standard 2-hole punch, and I am using the 3/32 hole on this because of the thickness of the jump rings that I'm using, that chain. Otherwise, you could go with the smaller hole if you wanted to. I try to get it close to the edge, but not that close. If you've ever worked with these 2-hole punches, they kind of scoot back a little bit sometimes, right when you're going to twist it. So sometimes you can get too close to the edge and actually cut through it. So that'll be good right there. And then punch all of my holes. And I guess what I should do right now, what I could do, is solder on the little bezel cup, and while that's in the pickle, I can finish doing these holes. I'll just finish this one and then I'll go on to that. But they're fun. It's fun being able to make these little shapes. And like I said, you could solder them on other pieces or rivet them onto other pieces. I think the uses are many. All right. So let me get this here. I'm going to just use some solder paste on this, or paste solder. I always say it the wrong way, but hopefully you know what I mean. Get my stuff all over here. All right, and I've got some little titanium shims that I stacked up because I want to make sure that I'm soldering the bezel cup on level, and you know, I'm soldering it on a curved piece now, so I want to just prop that up a little bit on this end where I'm going to put the solder cup, I mean the bezel cup. And I do not have my fume trap in front of me. I should, but I don't. But all I'm doing is this tiny little piece, and I didn't drag it over. But I'm not telling you to do that. You be cautious with everything that you do. This stuff is no joke. So I'm just going to put on a little bit of paste solder and lay my bezel cup down. Can you guys see okay, I hope? I know I'm not. with a cell phone, or camera phone, whatever, you can't really zoom in like fancier equipment can, but hopefully you can see enough to know what I'm doing. And if any excess squishes out, if you can try to get that wiped up, that's all the better, because this stuff kind of runs and it will leave silver solder on your back plate. It's just how it is. All right, hopefully that won't go anywhere. Deb, you're hilarious. Jason Momoa could do anything for me, not just cut discs. I may not have him waste his time doing that. I might keep him busy in other ways. All right. So, I normally use a little bit stronger torch when I'm working with copper, but this is just such a small job right here that I'm just using this. So I'm warming up my piece all over. I don't know if it went or not. Can't tell. That ought to be on. If it's not, I don't know. Let's quench this. It's on. So now I'm going to throw that in the pickle. Let that do its thing. Move this out of my way. Also, if you have any filing or sanding that needs to be done on these discs, if they're have little burrs on them or something, they should not have any, but if any, they might be just minimal. So you could just take a sanding stick or something similar and just smooth that out. All right, so I got to finish doing my holes. Let me check for comments here. Okay. Okay. Marianne, if he comes over to your house, I think we're all going to head out your way. All right. Like I said before, you can use any punch pliers if you have any hole punches that you have, whatever you want to use, just as long as you make the hole large enough for whatever type of jump ring you're going to use to attach. All right. Now, the jump rings, like I said, I'm using the chain. And what I've done is, when I get the roll of chain, I usually unspool a whole bunch of it, maybe half of the roll, and give it a little bath in the liver of sulfur and have it ready to use. So the rings that I'm going to be using in the demo will already have the patina on them, but what I would normally do is patina everything at the same time, and then I would tumble everything, and then I would hook it all together. Well, actually, I would hook it all together. Then I would, well, no, let me step back a minute. I would set the cab. I would patina the bracelet, all the parts, and the cab setting would be the very last thing I do. So I would patina, hook everything together, tumble it, and set the stone afterwards. Some stones can take it in the tumbler, but I try to avoid that if possible. And we have to make the clasp as well. And I do the circles or the holes from beneath, since these are dapped, because if I do it from the top side, then when I go to dap them, they get kind of squished. So you don't want to, you kind of dent them. So you don't want to do that. So you work from beneath and everything stays just fine. I don't know why I'm having trouble seeing this one. There we go. And when you're screwing these hole punches, you just screw it around till you feel the metal, it break through the metal, and then back off, because otherwise if you keep turning this thing, then you're going to get a shadow, like a scraped shadow from the tool into your piece, and you don't want that, because that's pretty near impossible to get out, because you've scratched it into the metal. Okay, one more to go. Now, of course, you know, the amount of pieces you need depend on the length of bracelet or project, you know, that you need. So you have to take all that into consideration. If you're a larger boned person, you will need maybe another link or two more. If you're a very petite, which I am not, you will need less. But that's entirely, you know, you have to kind of gauge that. Okay. Okay. All right. So I have all my parts together. And this is where, well, I have to wait for the one that's in the pickle. Pickle's usually pretty fast. Except I didn't heat it up too early. This is not my usual setup. I have a basket in my pickle pot that makes it so much easier to get things out. That actually could stay in there longer, but I'll take it out anyway. It's pretty amazing how fast it is. I can use a little piece of steel wool to clean this up. I always use the 4O steel steel wool for my projects. And I do have a little bit of solder that spread out under here. Not much, but a little bit. I don't know if you can see that in here. Also, I would brass brush this if I was in my room with the sink, but I'm not. So I had just a tiny bit of solder peek out right here, and what I'm going to do with that is use my micromotor here. I'm going to put my face shield on because I'm using a pumice wheel, and it always kind of splatters a little bit, so I don't want that in my face. I'm just going to knock that right out. And you got to be real careful with this because you can dig a groove right into the metal if you put too much pressure on it. So you don't want to do that. But this is a knife edge wheel, and they come in handy for getting in tight spots. If you had a lot of solder on here, you know, you can clean it up as best you can with one of these, and then I would plate it with some old pickle and some steel wool, and it will cover over that solder real well. Now I'm just using a 3M wheel. Just to get the rest of that schmutz off from the pickle. Okay. So now it would be ready to patina. All the pieces would be ready to throw into the patina. And I'm not going to do that here because I'm not set up for it. But I would patina all of these. Then I would set the stone and hook them all together. So now let's make the clasp. The clasp is my standard shepherd's hook kind of closure that I like a lot. I use a lot, and I'm going to be using the large or the long round nose pliers to make my hook. And chasing hammer. Oh, let me look back here. Renee, you want to know what kind of basket? I actually have a plastic strainer basket. I got it from Eurotool, but I think you could probably use any kind of plastic if it's small enough, although I have a pretty good size crock pot. And I cut the handle off, and I just pick it up with my tongs. It works out pretty good. So that's what I use. Okay. All right, so now for the clasp, I've got my round nose pliers. I've got crap everywhere. And I'm going to just flatten out the tip. This is 2 1/4 inches of wire for this particular plier that I'm using. If you're using a different plier, you may need a different length because, for example, this is a standard round nose plier right here, and this is the long round nose. So this is going to make a smaller clasp than these are. So you would need less wire for that. And that you'll have to figure out because I can't do the math on that one. All right, so I'm going to just flatten this tip just a little bit because I think it looks nice when you do that. And just file that little point off a little bit. All right, so then I'm going to take the small round nose pliers and place the wire in the tip of the wire and the tip of the pliers, basically, and kind of hold on tight and roll this away from me. You have to do it in a couple of turns to make a small P. And you want that wire to go all the way to touch the long wire, like that. If it gets a little wonky, you can take some flat nose pliers and just straighten that out. If it's a little crooked, if it's not right on the money, you just straighten that out. Okay. Then I put the P all the way to the back where the widest part is of my plier, and I take my thumb and my first finger, and I push this wire up and over to touch the back of that loop, that little P, and it forms like a little shepherd's hook. Okay, so that's the beginning of it. This gauge, this is 14 gauge, Suni. And now I'm going to put this end of the wire here all the way to the back, the large part, and roll it until it touches the back of the wire there. That I didn't do so well. Could have been a little straighter on that, but it's okay. As long as it touches and closes, that's what's important. Okay. So that's the little shepherd's hook, but now I'm going to texture it a little bit, kind of work harden it a little bit. And what I'm going to do here, most of you have seen me do this before, I'm just going to round out, well, it's already rounded, but I'm going to texture this arc of the clasp right here. And as I'm hitting it with the ball peen part of the chasing hammer. And as I'm hitting it, I'm kind of going straight down, but yet kind of pulling it. And it's hard to notice that in my motion, but that's actually what I'm doing. And Wendy, I forgot to get an eraser, like you mentioned. Wendy suggested getting a pink eraser to hold onto the back. Usually I'll use a popsicle stick, craft stick, that kind of thing, to hold on to this so I don't whack my finger, but I like to live dangerously or stupidly, I don't know. And I just texture one side. Okay, and sometimes when you hit it, usually when you hit it, this wire separates just a little bit, and you can just close that up a little bit. You don't want it all the way closed because you need to have it open to fit on your bracelet or on your piece. But then this would get patinaed at the same time as all my parts here would. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and set the stone, and I will patina this after it's all put together. And I don't think it's really going to hurt anything. I don't recommend doing that, but because I'm doing the demo, I'm going to do that. So I need, this is so simple because it's just such a small little thing. I need my stone. I've got a little 4mm Amazonite stone, and a lot of times I have found that these bezel cups are a little bit tight. So what I do is I've got a round file, but I'm just using the end of it. If you have something round that you could kind of stick in there and kind of just flare that cup open just a little bit, then you can put your stone in there. Make sure that it's seated all the way. I think I flattened out my, well, this is a 22 gauge, so it's kind of flimsy. So I'm going to just take my pusher and do the 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock push with that to get that set. That's why the 20 gauge is nicer. It's less likely to bend out of shape. And I don't think the pickle is gonna, I mean, not the pickle, I don't think the liver of sulfur is gonna hurt this stone, but I guess I'm gonna find out. And if it does do anything, I'll let you know. But like I said, I don't recommend setting the stone till you're all done normally. All right, so I've got this handy little acrylic burnisher that I got from Flow Studios, and I really like it a lot. Working on a curved piece is a little bit more difficult than flat to get it all the way pushed down. I love these Amazonite stones. I think they're so pretty. I got them from Amazon in case, not Amazon, I got them, it's Amazonite. I got them from Rio Grande. They have nice quality stones, for the most part anyway, of what I've purchased. They're a little pricier, but they're decent quality. All right, so that's on there. So then I will get, see, I have my jar of jump rings all ready to go. This is what I do when I can't think of things to make, or when my muse is on vacation. I just do little parts and pieces so that I have things when I need them. All right, so I've got all my little pieces, and then I'll show you the little dangles that I put on, which are entirely optional. But I did, what did I do on this? I'm pretty sure, where's my bracelet? Here it is. Yeah, I put the flowers next to the centerpiece. Make sure that you put the textured side up. I should just open a bunch of these so then they're ready, just like when you're doing chainmail. And speaking of chainmail, I think I may do chainmail next week. I've got a design in mind, but we shall see. Things are always subject to change around here. It's pretty simple, just putting everything together. Let's see, we'll work on the other side. So I sent the majority of the design challenge kits out yesterday. for any of you that are getting them. So you should be getting them in the next couple of days. And my grandson was here when we were getting them all prepared, and he decided he wants to do one. So, oh boy, he has no idea what he's getting into, but he should be able to play along and have fun too. All right, so I've got those, and I just need to see how much distance I still need. This is how I figure out stuff. I just figure out how much distance I've got yet, which would determine if I needed another disc or not. There's these little tiny ones that are in that little disc cutter that I was said that would make nice little tags. I had originally put one of those on each end, and then it became too long, so I took them off. You can always add a couple of extra rings if you come up short, but another disc would be too long. So that's something you kind of just have to play around with and see how that works for you. So I'm going to just use one of the jump rings as the hook, or as the other part of the clasp. And like I said, well, I think I said earlier, after I would patina everything, I would throw that in the tumbler. I would throw all of this in the tumbler for a little while and work harden it a little bit. Let's see how this works. You don't want your bracelets tight, but yet you don't want them so loose that they fall halfway down your hand. That's not really a good look, in my opinion anyway. And you could make, actually you could make a washer type thing for your other part of your clasp if you wanted to do that. Okay, so I would say that that's the right size. It doesn't, I've got some movement on it, yet it doesn't go down halfway down to my hand. All right, so let's take this back off. Where's the hook? Oh, here we go. Okay. All right. So then, just because I like these little things, I'm going to add a few little dangles. And by dangles, I mean I've got these little seed beads. These are 6/0 seed beads that I have wire wrapped. Just wire wrap a loop on them. And I'll take a few of those and some either 3 or 4 millimeter jump rings. I do that with these too. Make them all ahead of time when I can. And I'll just pick 3 different colors. But, you know, this is just what I do. It doesn't mean you have to do it. But I think it adds a little bit of something. Now, since this isn't patinaed, it doesn't look quite as nice as the one that's already done. But I have made bracelets where I put the little dangles in between each link. And I like that too. It gives a little kind of fun movement like that. And there you have it. And Bob's your uncle. Okay. All right. So, and then if you wanted to, you could put one of these little dangly things at the bottom if you wanted, with your logo stamp on there, your maker's mark, if you have one of those. Okay. Yeah, and that's all there is to it. So simple. I had absolutely no clue what I was going to do this week until about Friday night, I guess. I started thinking about this, and knew that I wanted to do something with the Peppy disc cutter, but I didn't know what I was going to do exactly. And then Rhonda came over, my friend Rhonda came over on Friday, and she had bought this disc cutter, and we were playing with that, and I said, oh, I got to get one of these now. So she let me borrow it for today, but I've got one on order for me. So I figured that's how this idea came up. So always fun to to come up with different things. And if I'm doing these every week, I have to come up with a lot of stuff. So like I said, I think I'll be doing the chainmail bracelet next week. You guys have any questions about this? Any of the stuff that I did, or tools that I'm using, or anything like that? My grandson will be here probably in 10 minutes or so. And then all hell breaks loose. So he comes down here and he just thinks that he's got run of the place. And when he was here on Sunday, I came down and he's got my little railroad track and he's pounding it with something. It's like, no, don't do that. It's to pound on, not to pound with. So yeah, I'll say hi to him. He gets into this, he gets into it a lot. So he was helping me with the bagging of orders the other day, and sometimes it's more of a hindrance than a help, but All right. Renee, you may try something similar with some small pancake dies. Yeah, you could. Sure you could. You could make all kinds of things. It's just you're only limited by your imagination, And if you make something like that, Renee, post it on the group page. I always like to see what you guys are doing. So, all right. Well, I guess that's going to do it. Any other news? I don't think so. For anybody that's in the design challenge, it's going to be like I said, the packages are going out, or most of them went out. I only have a couple that still have to go out, and the deadline is going to be May 1st, so you have plenty of time to work on that. Jason said I wish he did. Okay, so anyway, like I said, if you have any questions, just let me know, and I'll post the instructions or the handout in just a little bit. And anything else that I can think of, I will let you know. So, all right, thanks for watching with me, you guys. I always enjoy you being here with me. And until next week. Oh, and if you didn't see, I had I did a little video, a demo on Potter People's group on Saturday. I may post that. If I can post that in our group, I will, just so you see what I did. I did a lampwork glass demo using Potter dies, and it was kind of fun. So I'll see if I can get that over here. But if I don't, you can always, if you're a member of their group, you can always go over there and check it out. And excuse me. I'll talk to you guys later. Take care. Bye-bye.